That's exactly what I wanted to happen.
Yeah. Oh, man. What's going on, everybody? Today is Thursday, February 8th, right? February 8th?
Yeah.
2024. God, the time is just flying by. It's crazy. Yeah, but we are here to talk once again about the Challenge 39. This time, episode 17. There have been 17 episodes of this show.
Yuck!
Yeah, and so we're here to talk about that. We're right on the doorstep of the final, though, so we are
Is
at the
this
end
finale
here.
Eve, or is there one more that's finale
It
Eve?
seems like, are we gonna get a 2-part finale? Because I thought it looked like we were gonna get 19 episodes.
Yeah,
so
I
this
feel
was
like
17.
I feel like we're getting a 2-part final because we have to drag everything out in the challenge world.
Yeah.
So,
But hey, we're almost there. We're down to 7 players at the end of episode 17. So let's talk about how we got down to those 7, and just talk about everything that's been going on in the last week or so of the Challenge 39. All right.
yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, my name is John Duffy Judea, of course, standing the Queen Mariah. I'm joined, as always, by my ride or dies, Mr. Kyle Petty Young, still standing Mr. Kyland Young, who, while he did leave us recently, had a fantastic season and can't wait to see him on more seasons.
Stand by your man. Stand by your man.
That's right. And then, of course, Gina Morgino Kaiser, still standing Olivia.
Yeah.
Olivia didn't have the best episode this time with her elimination, but
Listen, again, I chose her preseason, and we gotta stick with our choices. I may not love what she's doing, but she is who I have chosen.
Right, because it's not just about the fact that she went out, right? Like, who cares? Like, like most people won't win. Like, that's how it's designed. But her behavior leading up to the exit was like
not great.
Crikey, super cringy. Boo, not the Olivia that she was.
Since we're talking about this, well, let me first finish and just say we are Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Find us on the socials everywhere. Give us a like, comment, a subscription. Also, throw us a really nice review over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We would really appreciate it, and it does a lot of help for the podcast, So. So yeah, but also, okay, Gina, as Olivia is, your person. How would you rank, compared to her first season on the challenge, now her second season? How do you compare the two? What would you say about this season compared to her first appearance?
It is so wild. It is like night and day, because we've all said multiple times last season, Olivia and Horacio got so far because he was carrying them with competition wins, and she was carrying them with her social game. So to see what her social game has become in this season, it is bonkers that we are talking about the same person. It is crazy how much she's turned around.
Well, so last time, Olivia and Horacio had this incredible freshman season, right? These newbies coming in. Now in their sophomore seasons, neither one of them has made the final. Do you think that this shows that they are better together, better when they work together? What do you think?
So actually, a crazy thing, I don't know if you guys have seen the stuff coming out on social media or whatever, but apparently Olivia and Horacio didn't know each other before Ride or Dies. Did you see this?
I did see. I saw something about this somewhere.
She was
not surprising because all relationships in Ride or Dies were a farce. I mean, Devin, Fessy and Mariah, everything was crap.
But she was apparently, I don't think it was on a podcast or whatever. I saw an article. I think they were saying that she was talking on a podcast and saying that they had the same manager. And the manager put them together and was like, you guys should do the show together. You'd make a good team. So they went into that season not knowing each other. And apparently a lot of those teams really just straight up didn't know each other. Not even just the ones that you named. There were a lot of them that were put together by their managers, which is crazy. To see especially how how much emotional turmoil went into like, oh, Horacio's not standing by me. I thought we were friends. Like everything that's come out of this season, to know that they went into their previous season not even really knowing each other is wild.
That is wild, especially with how well they worked together, and that's really not something that we even explored when we were discussing some of these relationships, right? Because they seem to be so bonded, they worked so well together that like I didn't even question what their relationship was or wasn't, even in that season. Yeah, that is interesting.
Well, rough season for Horacio, but
I'm getting shredded in the comments.
I know. There was one that really, really got me. Well, Natalie's "Sorry, Gina, Olivia going home is karma." That was funny. And then also Kyler saying to Kyle that she would have stayed on his ship, the Kylan ship, but personally, she would have bailed on your ship. You're
getting shredded.
Ayo, Captain! When's the first lifeboat leaving? I'm finna bail. Splash.
Oh my God. Splash.
It's also it really implies that there is no lifeboat available, but that's how badly Kyler wants to get out of here.
Splash.
I'll take my chances in my goalie battle. So how about this lady?
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. But all right, let's get into some of this episode. So at the top of the episode, we saw Nerys coming back, fresh off her elimination victory. Very sad elimination victory over Kylan and Horacio.
Yeah.
But man, Nerys is really, that was super impressive. So congratulations to her. But what did you think of Nerys coming back into the house? Everybody's reaction to her coming in.
I loved it.
Right, and like,
what
did you think of like Olivia's apology or her attempted apology and everything too? I want to get your whole reaction about Nerys's return here, both of you.
All right, so I think Emmanuel had made some comments about her being too much when she came back in. So I'm like, oh, you can't get rid of me. Oh, blah 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 blah. And it's like, you know what though, I hear what you're saying, and if it was anyone else in any kind of a different situation, I would agree with you, Emmanuel. But like, y'all threw her in there with her best friends after you done fucked her over the last time and you made her choose between Olivia and the people that she cared about the most. So it's like, sorry, I think she gets to come back with that attitude. Like,
she like right out of the gate, like, hi, I'm back. Screw love you guys. Goodbye.
Right.
Like, yes.
And that's what y'all get. That's what you get.
100%.
Who wouldn't come back with that energy after everything that you went through the past couple of eliminations and like, you know, eviction cycles, whatever? Like, of course that's the attitude you have because you already know everyone's not working with you. So she has nothing to lose. I loved it.
Oh, me too.
For it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I agree. And I agree about the Emmanuel thing too. And it's not just this episode. It's definitely been for some other recent weeks. But like this episode in particular, for whatever reason, Emmanuel was like really getting on my nerves. Like really getting on my nerves.
I don't like him this season.
Yeah, me either. I have to say.
You know, Natalie wants to know, Emmanuel's on the season. What has he done? Literally nothing. The only thing he's given us is good views when he opens his legs, when he's wearing his competition shorts.
He has done absolutely nothing this season but kiss Jay's ass.
Yeah,
that's it.
Which is like vomit-inducing.
Yeah.
Like literally so repulsive. It would take 2 full heavings to get out all of the puke because he makes me so disgusted. Like I can't.
2 full heavings. Oh man,
you have quite a way with words, Kyle.
Also, okay, so thinking about like, you know, Emmanuel and some of the people that we have now, because from what we can tell, it looks like we're gonna go right into the final, right? It looks like TJ is coming into the house. It looks like they were kind of getting ready for some sort of club night looking thing, and then TJ walks in and it's probably gonna tell them the final starts immediately. But so we're left with 7 people, and those people are Mariah, Jay, Emmanuel, Colleen, Corey, Berna, and Nerys. So there are 7 people left. Of those 7 people, only Nerys has been to and won an elimination. How do you feel about that? Do you think that this is a deserving group of finalists?
I think it's absurd. I think it's crazy. How can you be considered a champion if you have done nothing to earn that honor? You have coasted through, and maybe you've coasted through on your social game. Like, say what you will about Jay. We all have plenty to say about Jay, but he at least has had some kind of social capital throughout the game that has been able to carry him through without seeing an elimination. So he has a bit of a leg to stand on. But most of these people have just kind of like kept quiet and sat in the shadows and gotten carried to the end of the game and been like, yes, I'm a champion. You haven't done anything.
Yeah, it's pretty lame. This is a pretty lame group. Really, I was excited for this cast before the season started. Just because I felt like, wow, a lot of interesting new people. This could be fun. Like, set up the challenge for future seasons. Once the older vets start retiring and all that. And this has just been miserable. The last dating back since Thanksgiving time, when people just stopped going home.
I have a feeling that Kyle might have a conflicting opinion. Everybody.
I saw you say she knew. All right, listen. I do completely agree, but I like to play devil's advocate. And there is a world in which I can say, you know what? The challenge has always been about, physical challenges, proving yourself in eliminations, X, Y, and Z. But I do think there's a world in which we can honor the fact that people played a social game well enough to not see themselves in that situation. The issue I kind of have with even that argument, even though I'm making it myself, is that I don't like the people that did it well,
Sure.
And I think that's why I would take some steam out of that argument. But there's something to be said for navigating things so well that you didn't go down. Right?
No, absolutely. I totally agree. It's just, I think what's frustrating to me is that all the people that are the people that are controlling the game, right? It's the ones that are kind of helping them and supporting their overall game. So, obviously Jay and Michelle have been at the top. You have people like Colleen and Berna working for Jay and Michelle, and it just what bothers me is it's a good move, I guess, on Jay's part that he's gotten this far and hasn't been thrown in, but the people that are helping him are just so obviously stupid. like Colleen doing what she's been doing is not beneficial in any way to her game.
And that's my thing is I could give some of that argument to Jay of you've done such a good job of socially navigating the game that you've stayed out of elimination. But a lot of these people, I think of Mariah, I think of Colleen, I think of even Berna for the most part, they just saw the bigger targets going at each other and said, I'm not going to keep my mouth shut and vote the way that everybody else wants me to vote, and no one's going to look at me and I'm going to be fine. So they didn't really do anything. They just kind of sat back and let the big dogs go at each other, and they got to the end, which I guess is a strategy, but it's not a exciting strategy, I wouldn't say it's a champion strategy.
Well, okay. I hear that. I think Colleen might be one of the exceptions, however, because she has been down in the sand.
She's luck kept her out of elimination for most of them, yeah.
And then it kind of, but her social game kept her out of any one of those going forward, right? So she saw those, she kind of got lucky and got out of it, and then her social game is what kept her out of any future ones.
No, yeah, I can give her that.
That's kind of noteworthy. I mean, so who can we say really, really didn't earn this? Honestly, I would say Jay for me, because I think that it was really Michelle that kind of set up the social structure of this game. So Jay really has no business there as far as I'm concerned. Corey, I'm going to give him some flowers, because he definitely, the writing was on the wall in the beginning of this season. He should have gone home a long time ago. Especially after that whole Big T and Melissa flub, sitting there during what do you even call that then? During that vote, that interrogation, whatever you want to call it. During that whole thing, it definitely did not look like he was going to be able to repair his social game. And he did so, and so well that he did not end up going to an elimination ever again. He ended up being towards the top of people's lists for people to save. So you got to give some credit to that. I mean, who else is left?
For me, I think it's Mariah and Emmanuel for sure. I'm like, what did you bring to the table here? Like, how are you? You know, sorry, John.
I
your
didn't say
girl's
anything.
in there.
Well, I do think Mariah did more than Emmanuel. I don't think Emmanuel's done like anything at all. Where I feel like Mariah, like at least she was doing something where she had an alliance, branched out, and got like an extra number that always had her back in James right up until the second he got eliminated. You know, like
Right.
Emmanuel just kind of doesn't do anything. Berna is like
He
super
doesn't
loyal
do
to him.
anything, but Kyler makes an interesting comment here. Saying that Emmanuel is full on hooking up with Colleen, and it's being edited out because he's got a girlfriend. He also had a thing with a couple of other women, including Olivia. I don't necessarily like the idea of you using a physical relationship to push you further in the game, but if it does push you further in the game, then you may have played it in a dirty fashion, but maybe you played. What was the motivation behind that? Are you just a dog and just kind of a player, and that's just kind of what you do, or was that part of it? We've certainly seen in Big Brother, like some of the slooping.
Some of the what?
The slooping can kind of help. Slooping.
I don't like slooping.
Can get you to the end. Like it is a way of doing things, Monty. So it's there is that.
Yeah. I read something about this whole Emmanuel thing with Colleen too, because apparently we did see Colleen get pretty like upset at this at one point, because she has been hooking up with Emmanuel, and like Kyler was saying, like I did see something about how like Emmanuel's been trying to keep it off camera because he does have this girlfriend or whatever, but we did also see him like cuddling with Olivia and like Raven like on camera, and it's like, so it's kind of a weird thing that he's doing, because like I get like trying to have like a romantic element to it, to have somebody in your corner and to have them like vote your way, but like it's just weird that he's like publicly fooling around with like some people, and then Colleen, he's trying to keep it private, but she's the one that's staying loyal. I don't know. It's just very weird.
What if Colleen is the one you actually like, and that's why it has to be private? Because, like, you know what? This wasn't just something physical. Like, I'm actually down for this girl.
Right.
So, mum's the word.
Emmanuel just, I don't know, kind of sucks.
Emmanuel still sucks. Yeah, no, he sucks. But if we're talking about social, I don't know, social moves and things like that, like, it's worth discussing and exploring. Yeah, that's all. Yeah. I don't like it. I won't draft him for season 40. But yeah.
Ooh, kicked off the team. Sorry, Emmanuel. Sorry. Oh no, you didn't have Emmanuel. I'm a liar.
He wasn't mine. I never chose him.
I was looking at the wrong name. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of mine. He's one of mine. What did you think about the pitch of an all-girls final that was quickly done away with?
Shut down.
We did this way too late. Way too late. If that was the plan, you needed to have done it a couple of eliminations ago at least.
Right. Yep.
I just think it was never going to work, because I mean, we saw Berna went and told Jay immediately about it. Then Colleen was throwing Nerys under the bus, bringing up the all-girls final and mentioning how Nerys at one point wanted to vote Jay out when it had come down to both Jay and Kyland in that one nominating ceremony.
Yeah, and the issue with that is that, like, you were never going to be able to push an all-girls thing when Michelle was still there and working so closely with Jay. Like, that was never, ever going
Michelle
to be a
seemed
thing.
the one down for it, though.
Michelle was actually talking to people about it, yeah.
Yeah, but, like, that's because it insulates her now. Like, do we really think that Michelle would have actually, like, moved on that? Like, she wouldn't have done that to spite Jay. She's saying that to make sure they don't cut her. It wasn't about her protecting them.
I think it's a long shot, but we have seen Michelle getting frustrated with Jay recently at times. So I think it would depend on certain things, but I do think it would be a long shot that it would actually pan out.
Yeah, I would have liked to see if that actually got tested and tried. Like, because I just feel like the moves that Michelle makes is just to make sure she's safe. Like, and then she'll figure the rest out at bar night. Like, that kind of seems to be her strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Michelle, we've been waiting for her exit for a while. Because she has not been our favorite on this season. But we finally did see her leave in this episode, not by way of elimination, but by
rough way
way
to go
of
out.
being the last place finisher in our daily challenge, which was this drum roll competition. So there was basically this giant drum, suspended over water that was spinning, and all of our players had to run on it, try to stay on. The first 5 that would fall in the first heat would be in our losers bracket, and the 5 to make it the longest would be in our winners bracket. The losers bracket, obviously, the first person to fall in that losers bracket was being sent home immediately. The person to last the longest in the winners bracket would be the winner of the competition. Berna won, which means that she was safe, had the power to start our safety chain. But Michelle lost. So after this whole season of Michelle calling herself the Queen Bee and just running the whole game, she gets eliminated in a daily challenge by coming in last place. What did you think of Michelle's exit? Was it satisfying for you?
It was a rough way to go out, man.
Completely unsatisfying. I left that episode feeling very unfulfilled. I want to see Michelle sweating.
You want to see her get her ass handed to her, is what you want.
Exactly. I want to see her get her ass beat. Her, like, the neck part of her little jersey all stretched out. Like, I want to see her having a rough time, hair a mess. And she's just like, "Oh, Mom, I just fell." And it's like, boo! That is not how she should know. I want to see her struggle. I mean, happy to see her go, but that's not how we wanted it to go. That really sucks.
I would
have
have been
loved to see Nerys beat her or something like that. Let her take care of it.
No, what you wanted was for Cara to be in a physical elimination and hand her ass to her. That's what you wanted.
That's what I was just going to say. Was Cara? If Cara had
better than Cara, I would have liked for Laurel to call her down and Laurel to send her home. That's beautiful for challenge lore. You know, if we're really going to pick and choose how we want her to go, I think that's the perfect narrative. And Kyler called it. Michelle is great at some things, but every season it seems like there are dailies she just sucks at. Yeah. And it's like, I want to act like you're Queen Bee, but like you fell off a drum. So
she sucks.
I was surprised. I was surprised to see her, like, not even just like, because the way that the season was edited, I would have expected her to have like a really devastating loss at the final. Because we've said it 1,000 times, like we have been seeing the whole season through her eyes. We've been told the story through Michelle's perspective. So like, I guess in a way it makes sense that we lost her on finale eve. But in this way, in this kind of competition, it was like, that's how this went down. Like, because it felt like the way they were editing her, I was expecting her to have the same kind of elimination that like we saw Josh have last season, where it was like this devastating loss.
Yes.
And that's how she went out?
Whatever. She went out. It wasn't even the end of the episode. Like, you didn't even give her a cliffhanger
like
or something.
Halfway
just like,
through,
act like she wasn't even a thing. Like, goodbye. Moving on. More important things to do this episode. Right. That's how Michelle goes out? Ugh. Terrible. And I wonder if production was also like, damn.
Shit.
Exactly. This is not how this is.
She was supposed to be the winner. What do we do now?
Right. There's literally no way to interfere. Everyone knows she lost. We can't fudge the times. We can't do anything. We know she's gone.
I'm picturing some.
You'd be like, "Oops, that wasn't Michelle. That was somebody else."
Right, it's a decoy. Somebody else is just trying out the challenge. Demo person.
That was a test round. Now we're going to do the real competition.
Exactly. Now we're doing the real losers bracket. That was fake. Fake.
I'm picturing some producer just turning their head to like a coworker, being like, "You think it's too late to change that last place thing?"
Right.
Did I say the last
all
person
these producers
to fall?
come out and like try to Men in Black them? Like,
I spoke. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, just kidding. Just kidding. This is not it. Terrible.
But as Kyler is mentioning here, Berna did kill this daily. She won it. What do you think of Berna's win?
She sure did.
I always forget how strong she is because, like, we never really hear her. We've only seen her in a couple of seasons of the challenge. Or this is what now her second season, even like not even that many seasons.
I think it's her second.
And like we haven't really seen her do a ton of like physical competition stuff. And then she's talking and she's like, yeah, I'm an aerialist. I do trapeze. I do like all this stuff. And it's like, oh, I forgot you're like strong.
Yeah, she's strong. She's one survivor. Like,
See, I
she's
don't know her from that, but even still, just like
Yeah,
physically
I don't know her
strong.
from that
Like
either. They speak a language we don't know.
I even saw like Corey, I think it was, like tweeted like we were all dying up there, and she was like, I could go all day. Like I'm like her arms, like even just like the aerial stuff, like her arms must be insane.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, this is totally fine to me." Dup, 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 dup,
Ugh.
dup, dup, dup.
I'm like, I forget how strong she is.
Yeah, she was just going for like a jog on the treadmill.
Yeah.
In this
No
daily.
big deal. I do this all the time. I always hang from really tall things for a really long time. I am good.
Whatever. What's your problem? It's great. Way to go, Berna.
So now in this selection that we got, we had, Berna starting it off, and there was a whole big thing about how Jay kept saying that he was going to save Nerys, right? He was going to save Nerys. I think Berna and Colleen wanted him to save Mariah instead. So I think that would have given us Mariah, James, and Olivia in the bottom three if Jay had stuck by his word here. But because Colleen and Berna went to Jay and started talking about how, Nerys didn't, I mentioned this earlier, Nerys was considering voting Jay into elimination instead of Kyland or whatever when it came down to them. She obviously didn't. She kept Jay's back. She voted Kyland in, right? Or she voted, I think, a BERN vote, but like didn't seal Jay's fate anymore. And Jay uses this information to say, I'm not going to vote to save you, Nerys. I'm going to vote you in to elimination. So what did you think of, like, because Colleen was leading the charge, right? We were talking about this not that long ago, like leading the charge about trying to vote Jay out. So like the fact that Colleen did that is now trying to use that against Nerys. And then the fact that Jay just doesn't even bother hearing Nerys out and just takes Colleen and Berna at their word. This really pissed me off.
I mean, listen, that's what Colleen does, right? Let's not forget she won the Mole Germany. This is who she is, right? Colleen. Like, this is what she does. So, like, I don't like that you did it to Nerys, but that is how one plays. Like, toss the blame on somebody else. If you feel like you're not going to be able to make it, like,
What I thought was ridiculous wasn't what Colleen did. It was how quickly Jay switched up on it. It was like, oh yeah, for sure, fuck Nerys. And it's like,
well, that's what I think. Yeah, that's what I think bothers me the most is that, like, because even TJ. So when in this selection, I've really enjoyed TJ kind of butting in the last couple of weeks during the selection thing.
Yeah,
finally,
right? And
I keep seeing people on Twitter like, what are they going to do? Throw TJ into elimination? He's like, screw it, I'm going to say whatever I want to say. He's
right,
like so in it.
Right.
And, so we have another case here of Jay just making himself the victim again, making it all about him.
Always.
And TJ just being like, Jay, you were crying last time. You were crying when Nerys was going in, like, because she wasn't safe. Like, now you have the power to save her and you don't, and you're giving her shit for it. Like, I don't, like, what's happening here? Like, he just has no spine whatsoever. I feel like he is so just worthless.
I don't disagree. Like, I don't understand why anybody would be trusting working with Jay at any point, because he's always on totally opposite ends of the spectrum here. You're crying about Nerys, but then you were very, very overjoyed by the fact that she was going to be put in a situation where she had to choose between Olivia and Horacio as far as who to save. Like, you love seeing people in trouble, and you also lament the fact that you might have a bad decision to make. Like, you're everything is always happening to you. Meanwhile, it's happening to everybody else. Right. Like, it's so freaking painful. Like, what are we going to do if he wins?
Cry.
That cannot happen.
But
no, I think Kyle Petty will never cover the challenge again.
Yikes!
Like, it's just gonna be John and Gina. Like,
I might not.
I'm like, way to assume we're gonna be down. Like,
yeah, coverage of the challenge is suspended until further notice.
It's just the thing about Jay that drives me up a freaking wall, and we've talked about this before too, is like he can do whatever he wants to anybody. And it's always the right move. And it's always, I'm a genius. And it's always, I did this great thing.
And
But
I'm
if
playing the game. I'm playing the game.
anybody-
Respect it. Respect
If
it.
anyone does even something remotely similar to him that he's already done to somebody else, how dare you?
Crying,
How dare you?
throwing a fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you're doing all the
It's
same shit. That's
unbelievable.
the game.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's funny to me too.
And half the stuff that's happening to you wouldn't be happening if you didn't perform your first action.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's funny to me too, because it's like it seems to be so targeted at Nerys, who he was like so like gung ho about. Like, Nerys is my number one. She's like my real friend. I've known her for like 5 years. Blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, but you get pissed. You claim that Nerys hasn't been working with you this whole time, right? Because she was, very loyal to Horacio and got close to him, and then got close to Kyland. But Nerys isn't allowed to branch out and isn't allowed to fight for those people. But then you've got Mariah, who's allowed to date James and protect him as much as she wants, and Jay doesn't say anything. You have you got people like Michelle going out there and getting Callum and like, hooking up with him and like that whole thing. So it's like other people.
I forgot about Callum.
Right. It's like,
Callum.
and it's like you have other people in this alliance who are allowed to go out and make other connections and like protect other people, and Jay still has their back. But Nerys does that, and I'm sure the reason is because it's Horacio and Kyland, and Jay probably felt so like insecure and threatened by them.
Yep.
So for her, it wasn't okay. But for James, because he doesn't have the endurance, and for Michelle, with Callum, like Jay probably didn't feel as threatened by Callum. So it's like, because of Kyland and Horacio, now Nerys is out. Even though she didn't do really anything really differently than anybody else. She's playing the game just like everybody else.
Right. Yeah, it's a very interesting observation. And I wonder how things would have gone if Callum stayed in the game. Like that would have been a very, very interesting thing to watch play out. Because Callum would have started to become Michelle's number one. And that really would have changed the whole dynamic of really the whole game. Because it's really been the Michelle and Jay show. And if you add Callum into this, that would have been very, very interesting to see unfold. And we might have seen Jay leave weeks ago.
If only.
If only. I would have traded Callum for Jay, even though I don't really like Callum and the way he handles really anything else. Just for the sake of Jay being gone sooner.
Not having to hear Jay whine for the last 5 episodes or whatever.
Fine, carry on. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bring back Callum.
Yeah,
Bring back
I agree.
Callum down. I don't know if I'm championing that hashtag,
Right.
but all right.
If you had to choose Callum or Jay, though.
I would choose most people over Jay at this point.
Well, bring back Callum.
Yeah. But all right, yeah. So our elimination was Nerys, Olivia, and James, and it was the same thing we've gotten the last couple of times: 3 obstacles and 3 puzzles. The first to complete it is the winner. And in this one, it was not one person being eliminated; it was 2 people being eliminated. Actually, the last 2 have been, because Kylan and Horacio, am I thinking? It was just that first one, yeah. So again, we had 2 people go home. That was James and Olivia. And I will say, I'm sorry, Gina, but it did feel kind of good seeing Olivia go home at the hands of Nerys after she screwed Nerys over.
I will agree. I will agree.
It did feel good. It did feel good. Can we also just briefly mention the fact that everyone was like so harping on Berna and whatever decision she was going to make in this safety chain is like, oh, well, Berna's going to do the Berna is such a wild card. And it's like, stop saying that. She can only choose one person anyway. Berna's not really in charge.
Yeah, why people like treat safety chains like this. It's not even just in the challenge. Like people always talk about these like this.
It is. And I think that it's a little bit more highlighted in a situation like this where we can anticipate a safety chain. Like usually when we see that situation, it's kind of a surprise. It's part of a twist. Because you've built it in, everyone's acting like it is Berna's like rampant recklessness that's going to make this so crazy. And it's like, she's choosing one person.
But even in other shows, like we've seen it in Big Brother a bunch too, where like a safety chain will happen and retroactively, whoever the first person was to start it, you're the reason that this person got sent home. How dare you? And it's always like that person is at fault. And it's like all they did was pick the first person. It doesn't
Right.
matter. Get
And I
mad at
just
the
felt like
last
this felt like
person. Like,
this just felt like so much more to me because there was like a lead up to it. People
yeah.
knew it was coming, and it's like, would you leave Berna alone? Like, it's all up to y'all. You make your own decisions. She's choosing one person. You're just so mad that she's in power and being able to choose that first person. Like, that's what you're really mad about.
Even again, like
She has no control.
Olivia, I think, was the one that was like, and then, God forbid Berna wins. She's going to do that thing where she explains in detail why she wants every single person to fall where they fall. And it's like, what?
Like you
What?
all do?
That's what deliberation is. Like, what are you talking
Right,
about?
and that's what Jay does all the time. Jay does it constantly.
all
I'm
do
choosing
it.
This person will go blah blah blah, and they'll go and faux tear comes down. It's like, I don't know why it's okay for everyone else to be annoying
Right.
and stupid. And the one time that Berna actually has some fucking power and can make
And
a
she hasn't
decision
even
for
done
herself.
anything yet. They're just anticipating
Exactly.
she's going
Leave
to.
her alone. Like, I'm so tired.
She hadn't
of
even
it.
won yet at that point, I don't think, when she was saying that. I was
Right.
like, what are you
Even the
talking about?
title of this episode was like "Feel the Burn." Why? This arguably, like, yes, you may have won, but this is actually the least amount of power that winners have had in this game.
Sure.
You're not really keeping everyone safe. When you have like an entire team, at least you get to have a deliberation. You're sending somebody in. You're choosing one person in this situation to keep safe. Like, that's not a huge amount of power.
Yeah.
It's more about safety and like immunity, if you will.
Yeah.
Just tired of the Berna slander.
Yeah.
Fucking leave her alone already. Oh God, it's so fucking played at this point.
I just don't understand where it comes from. Like, yeah, she's a little like emotional, but who isn't? They're all freaking like ticking time bombs at this point. Like, why is only she the one that gets shit on for having emotions?
Well, I will say
everything is a cultural difference, I think.
Well, I think the only thing that I would say about this, because I did notice this, we were talking about Nerys before, about how, like, she came in, she obviously was coming in hot because she's been put through the ringer recently, being forced to choose between her closest friends and then immediately having to go into elimination against her friends. And like Colleen and Berna were obviously like saying things to Jay to get him to turn against her and not save her. And then she, was raising her voice, Nerys. She was kind of going in on Colleen. She was very upset. And it was like, I felt like Berna, and Colleen too, were very much like, oh, I don't know why she's raising her voice. I don't know why she's being like that. And I feel like we've seen Berna like raise her voice a number of times this season. So it's just funny, like, to see Berna, who has been in a situation where she felt like she was being like, attacked, I guess, in a way, and kind of reacting the way that she did and raising her voice, and then being like, I don't know why Nerys is being like this, when like it's very obvious why Nerys is being like this. You know what I mean? Like, So that's one thing that I will say bothers me a little bit about Berna, but
Kyle doesn't like it.
No, I hear it. I just don't want to give it like too much steam because I still want to stand behind my girl. But I hear you, and I don't disagree, but I don't want to like champion it too hard.
I hear you.
Like
I hear you.
Yeah. But I do hear you. I do hear you. But I am gonna pull the bias card because I still love Berna. I still love her.
Hey, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Was there anything else for this episode?
I don't think so.
I think that's all I
I
have.
don't think so.
I also just love that like the other person we lost was James, and we've gone this entire episode without saying a single word about him, because if you want to talk about irrelevant people on this season, there's literally nothing we've been able to say about James all season.
Right, I was gonna say, what would you like to say about him?
It's very funny.
Honestly,
I've mentioned
Mariah dragged him to this point. I mean, there's not much to say about.
I mentioned James a couple of times.
He's very lovely to look at.
Yeah, but you mentioned James in relation to Mariah, not as being James.
Well, and then I also mentioned.
What else is there to say, though?
No, I mentioned him in relation to Mariah. I also mentioned that he went home in elimination against Nerys. So
I also mentioned that he went home.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want.
Yeah.
James was here and then he wasn't.
Just has done literally nothing all season. My God.
So, But all right, yeah, I guess okay. So we got the final coming up. Let's take a look at our teams, who we have left going into this.
Yes. Oh, I love a team review.
Let's do it.
All right, we'll start with Gina here because she had a rough night. She lost
Ooh.
Michelle and Olivia in
I'm
this
rocking
one
with
episode.
Colleen in the final. That's all I got left.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't look good
No.
for a Team Regina win
Nor-
here in this
nor-
season of the challenge, unfortunately.
We've also got Kyle here, who I will say it's your top 2 picks that are left, Berna
Yeah.
and Corey.
Yes, smart
Something
picks.
to be said
Smart
about that.
picks. There is something to be said about that, and I'm going to say it. I think I have a good shot in this final. I have a good shot. I like my 2 people in this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm pleased.
I think especially
pleased.
if we have reached that final, mark here, I feel like those are 2 strong people in the final. I'd be nervous if we still had like 1 elimination left or something because you just never know. But
Kyler! My goodness.
Kyler
Gina,
says-
your team
hard.
abandoned ship too.
Wow.
Damn.
Splash!
I only have 1 less than Kyle. I don't know why I feel like I'm doing so terribly.
Because my team, what I have left is still, I gotta say, better than what you've got left. Okay.
Yeah.
Leave
true.
Moline
It's
out of
true.
this.
Say, my people do put up physically. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Then we got
Yeah.
Team Dunphy over here.
Which
Ooh,
you
Team
also have
Dunphy,
your first
strong
4.
AF.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is an amazing team.
I told you, Mariah.
Well,
Honestly,
what's so funny about that is that she is the person on your team that I believe in the least.
right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't want Jay or Emmanuel honestly to win.
I would love a Nerys win.
Yeah, I would love a Nerys win.
oh my gosh, that's honestly what I'm rooting for. I would love a Nerys win. I would also really love a Berna win because she's been like really just getting it from everyone. But Nerys, I mean, she sent home 4 heavy hitters.
A Nerys win to me would save the season.
Like, come on, that feels so well deserved.
Yeah.
And even if she doesn't get first, I want her to at least finish second or third, so she at least gets a couple of coins. You know, Nerys deserves more than her regular stipend.
Yeah.
For her performance
Yeah.
this season.
No,
Yeah,
she's
come on,
killed it this
Nerys.
year.
That's what I really want. That's what I
Yeah.
want. Yeah,
I agree.
Mhm.
That would be ideal. But I guess we'll see what happens. I guess
We shall. We will. We'll see.
yeah.
My spectacles.
I am just wondering, so there's 7 players left. Do you think there's a chance we get a daily challenge with like 1 more person being eliminated, whoever comes in last? And then TJ just says like, whoever wins this is automatically in my final. Whoever loses goes home.
Has he said
I don't know.
that like did he say that like after this elimination like everyone's in the like did he make any comment like we're now in the final? I don't remember. Because everyone else has been saying it, but I don't remember if he said it.
I don't think he did. I did see on everyone's socials though that we are going into the final.
Right.
Following the rest of these challenges.
Right. I feel like he usually makes some kind of an announcement. Like he ends the episode like, and now we're in the final.
I think it's a 2-parter. That's why I think we didn't get an announcement. I think he's gonna walk into this bar night like we saw in the next one, and he's gonna announce that we're starting this final and we're gonna see some people go home before the second part of the final. That's what I'm predicting. I think we'll at least lose 1 before we get to the real finale.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm excited.
Which makes sense because John said he read that there were like 19 episodes. Isn't that what you said?
I thought because
Like
I've been going on the Challenge 39 Wikipedia page to get like the episode titles to for
Shout out to Wikipedia
for our our streams here, and it looked like I saw that there were 19 episodes. So
yeah, so somebody's at least 1 is going home next week.
Yeah.
And that's pretty customary, I think, for most challenge finals at this point. Right? We usually do see somebody go home
Yeah.
in the middle of a final or something. There's some kind of that's how we lost Angela in like Challenge USA.
Yeah,
1.
but that was a oopsie.
It was an oopsie, but like that is true. That is true. She thought she was fine. Yeah, no, you're right. But I feel like we have seen it other times as well. That's just what stood out to me.
Sure.
So
Yeah. All right.
I'd honestly be disappointed if somebody didn't go home in the next week. Like, because like, what are we watching? It's literally the same situation. I'm so tired of people not leaving. So
Yeah.
at least send one home and make it 6.
Right. No, definitely. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. I think that's all I got. You guys have anything else before we wrap this up?
I don't think so.
No.
All right.
I
Great.
am I'm satisfied.
Great. Well, what do we have coming up tonight at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time? We'll be talking about week 2 of Australian Survivor. Another week has wrapped up. It's been a great season already. So if you're watching, and even if you're not watching Australian Survivor, come hang out at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time, a little over an hour from now. Other than that, we'll be back next Monday. We'll be talking about the Traitors season 2 at 7 p.m. Eastern, right? We're sticking at 7 p.m., I'm assuming. Right. I'll take your silence as agreement.
I don't know. I feel like Kyle's
I believe
debating.
so. I believe so. I'm supposed to go to the office on Monday, but like I'm not liking the people I work with very much. I'm thinking about taking a stand and sending a message by not going into the office. And if I don't go in, then I'm definitely down for 7. And I gotta say, it doesn't look like I'm going in. So 7 is probably gonna be it.
Okie
Yeah.
dokie.
Sorry. Middle fingers to y'all.
All right. Well, you heard it here. You heard it here first, folks. You know, we'll be back.
See you at 7.
Yeah, we'll be back here at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time tonight for Australian
yeah.
Survivor. Will Kyle go to work on Monday? We'll see. But if not, we'll be here on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time to talk about the Traitors season 2. We are Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Find us on the socials, on all social media platforms. We are there. Find us, like us, comment, subscribe, follow, and also, whether you're an audio listener or not, just head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave us a really nice review. It's very helpful. We really appreciate it. All right. So we'll see you soon. Talk about Australian Survivor. See you later.
That we shall.
Lido.